So yeah, now you know. Okay, let us all pray that I delete these immediately, because it's caused my Catholic boyfriend so much rage. It is impious. I'm not a Christian. Sorry about it. But okay, here's the thing about like trust and the ideal state. Okay, so God's like, I put you here, you could be the ruler of the birds and the things in the sea and the vegetables, and you be the vegetable guy. And also, by the way, like, I'm gonna take a rib out of your body and like, here you go. Here's Eve. And then it's like, why would here's the thing. I'm thinking like, Eve is wandering alone to the tree, like she has time, she's with the serpent. Like, why? Where was Adam? Because I just saw this Instagram reel today, and it was this couple, and they were like doing everything together because we want to, like, not because we're codependent, but because we, like, you know, love each other. It's like, why were they separated in the first place for so long? Something tells me that I'm not going to delete these images. It's the voices. Just kidding. Actually, no, I don't have an internal monologue right now. I'm at, like, cognitive capacity is like, I'm speaking right now. There's not a single thought in my head. I feel like you can see that in my eyes and like the gaps that I take, just like the, like, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I sleep every other day, so it's fine. But so they were separated for so long because why are men so obsessed with, like, it's so funny because I'm so obsessed with, oh my gosh, it all comes full circle. So men are so obsessed with self-control, with like having every single aspect of their being under their control. Their tone of voice, for example. What is one thing that you can't control? You need someone else if you're gonna get your. So he's like, why is it the case that only this one rib taken out is allowing me to? He's like, no, like, I think I could just, with the power of my will as a man, I think I could just take out all the other ribs. The other ribs don't have to, like, hinder me. I don't know how many ribs are in the human body. It would be cooler if I could, like, say the specific number. But anyways, so he's, like, embarking on a journey of self-mastery, I think. Because, like, literally, what is the other explanation? Like, why would he not? Like, you had the opportunity, like, because they were, like, close to the center of the garden. There's, like, the tree of eternal life right next to the other tree. Like, those must have been beautiful trees. Like, great spot to be with your eternal partner who God gave you. But, like, where are you? So anyway, and then guilt. Because also, why is guilt always sexual? Like, why is there always a sexual component of... I don't know. Okay, we were just talking about this. The icebreaker, because we're so very clever at the Columbia Spectator at the I. Our icebreakers are icebreakers. Haha. And the icebreaker was, would you start a cult or join a cult? By the way, my answer is co-found. Unimportant. I should stop name dropping without permission, I think, probably. So, someone in the I, who I admire, was talking about purity culture. And she was like, I think I would join a cult because I got actually really impacted by just like some readings that she was doing, some research that she was doing into purity culture, where it like formed a lot of sexual guilt. I wonder where that comes from. And then it's so funny because it's like, it seems ambiguous. It's like, why does Adam get punished and not Eve? Like, it must just be that, like, she doesn't have any power. Because if she had power, then her action would be wrong. But it's because Adam has power that his action is wrong. But it's like, no, that's just a misogynistic telling of the story. In fact, it's because Adam sucked his own dick, and that was the original sin. It was because he, like, willed his ribs to not exist that are in his body. But then they just, like, misogynistic monk who's writing it down just blamed it on Eve. Or, like, maybe the monk, probably, I imagine the person who wrote down the Bible, like, really wanted to tell the truth. Because I think that it is a good book. Like, it's pretty, I like the series of unfortunate events a little bit more, to be honest. But I think it is a good book, and I have high discernment for books. But, like, yeah. So yeah, now you know. Or you don't know. Okay, here's the other funny part of like Christianity for so many centuries being like you have to read the book, but then like no one read the book because like they couldn't read or like didn't have books, and like the infallibility of the Pope until 2022. So just for a lot of reasons, people didn't read. But if every single person read the Bible before they came to church, and church was like a discussion section instead of like a lecture. I've also been super against lecture classes, so like, oh my god, I have so many thoughts to express and I just need to sleep. Lectures are not good. Discussions are good. If everybody read the Bible and then came to the discussion section, church was the discussion section, then you'd have like so many different ways of thinking about everything. But then people be all like, use your independent brain, free thinking, but then people be all, Eden, you can't say that. People, like, actually, genuinely, if these Instagram stories got out, I'd be Charlie Hebdo. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like that's the wrong, well, yeah, Charlie Hebdo. I know, I'm trying to remember the name of the teacher who I wrote an article about in high school. There was a French social science teacher, like 7th grade social science. Daniel taught 7th grade social science. And he was beheaded for showing Charlie Hebdo illustrations that had Muhammad. But that's kind of also low-key a different thing, because I also would never, me personally, I would not depict the Prophet Muhammad, because like some things can in fact be off limits, and you also can in fact have a discussion. But I don't know, this is probably one of the off limits things. They probably should not have like Marilyn Manson-ified Adam. No, fuck the doubt. I trumped my guilt. It's genuinely different. The Quran says, do not, like, so many times, like, not even in a subtle, even if it did say it in a subtle way. Well, I think we should listen to the subtle teachings of the Quran, don't get me wrong. It directly said, do not depict the Prophet Muhammad. The Bible never said, by the way, Adam did not suck his own dick. It did say, like, what did it say? Okay, well, Jesus, to the whore who was going to be stoned, was like, who of you have not sinned? And then he goes and, like, puts his arm around her and, like, walks her home. So, like, it's working within a social context. Like, religion is always within a social context. So it's like, given that if Adam sucking his own dick was in it, no one would convert to Christianity because the shame was so intense. Like, so yeah, I really think that Christianity specifically, because I also want to just mention that like the Hebrew Bible is distinct from Christianity, but it's also like Christianity just addresses the problems in the social context that still existed after the Hebrew Bible that the Hebrew Bible didn't do, because the Hebrew Bible like really doesn't talk about sexuality enough, IMO, which is really funny, and it's very obvious because Christianity, you get the whore moment, and then the Quran, there's so much sex stuff in the Quran. Like the heaven is really, really sensual in the Quran. And a lot of Christians don't know that, which I think is a problem, because if you're Christian, why are you not reading the Quran? You can still be Christian. Additionally, if it is said of your religion that there's an additional prophet, and you know from your own Bible that there will be more prophets as promised to you, you might as well take a look-sees, you know? You might as well. Okay, now I'm like ascending to a new level of evilness, which is I'm out of thoughts, and I'm gonna rack my brain for more because I don't want to stop imposing myself. This is genuinely what cult leaders do, which is, it's really funny because my answer wasn't even that I would start a cult, it was that I would co-found a cult. I was thinking in my head I would wait for someone else to come up with the whole ideology, and then I would just kind of like narrativize it, because I'm a good editor. I think I'm better as an editor than a writer, which probably should say something about everything I'm saying. Like, it's probably not that good because I'm not that good of a writer and I haven't edited any of this. But like, okay, what else in religion do I want to pick apart? Music, yeah, the like unmusicality of Catholic hymns, the Book of Songs. Like, it was probably like, it was good at the time, but like music is something that genuinely like is a skill, like is a craft that we have improved through time, and we don't like honor that. So, like, musicality in religious texts, like, because the thing is, Psalm 121, can't recite it, I wish I could, is so, like, fucking, the Limp Bizkit cover of Behind Blue Eyes and Psalm 121 are, like, on a wave. So, like, there's musicality in the Bible, like, doubtlessly. Daniel's favorite part of the Bible is the beginning of the book of John. Is that what it's called? The book of, like, the first part where John comes in, and it's like God is light and whatever, and like the way that he reads it, because he listens to a lot of hip hop, and John and hip hop are on a wave. But like, hip hop. Does anybody still say hip hop? I also think that's just like he listens to rap. Rap and John are on a wave. I'm so not tired. Right? Because it's mental illness. It's not me. It's mental illness. The reason that I'm awake right now, I tried so hard to sleep. It's just the mental illness. I wonder why concepts don't die as soon as they should. Maybe it's because we pretend like they're not all diseases.
Okay, low-key, wait.
Yeah.
I'm referencing an earlier post that I forgot to go back to.
Conspiracy theories, because I feel like just being in the dark.
Not this one.
So I guess the vibes are that I'm just holding.
Not that one.
Okay, I don't believe in natural voice. I really don't.
Not that one.
So like voices, I was gonna start talking in a transatlantic accent, like I don't know, a couple years ago. I was like, I'm just gonna watch videos and like just absorb.
The point is there is no natural voice, and you should just like listen to people that you really love the sound of their voice, and if you incorporate that into the sound of your voice, that's not unnatural. Just don't like give up on everything you have already done. This is the thing.
It's almost like Tao called Tao is not Tao. Like Tao called Tao is not Tao. Like names can name no lasting name. It's almost like names can name no lasting name. It's almost like concepts are not truth. It's almost like once you are able to put something in a word, the reason that you put it in a word is so that you can talk about this problem, because why would you talk about anything?
Sorry, I wanted to see who said mm-hmm. Thank you, Eva Salmon, for saying mm-hmm.
It's almost...
Okay, well, yeah, basically concepts.
If I get one like or one person sliding up with a hate comment, I'm going to continue to talk and describe how I rewrote the origin story of man. I like rewrote the Genesis.
I guess I should have started with this one, but I think I started with this one.
Never mind, I forgot that I'm evil.
Anyways, we'll go back.
I'm so not. Okay. Now I'm gonna keep.
Wait, where were we?
So like, musicality.
Okay.
In religious text.
I feel like I don't know if I got to the end of this, but I think I made my point.
It's like, I'm so not tired. Right? Because it's mental illness. It's not me. It's mental illness. The reason that I'm awake right now, I tried so hard to sleep. It's just the mental illness. I wonder why concept.
I feel like I could make this clearer. Like the names can name no lasting name thing is I genuinely think that the point of words. Oh, I think I did have another story that I skipped where I said this. In my belief, I could pause this on a better.
Don't die as soon as they should.
Well, I guess the best one is a funny one, right? That's the one that gets the most, when you pause a movie on a really funny thing, it brings a lot of joy.
Maybe it's because we...
Okay, what I'm getting is just slightly ugly but not funny, but that's okay, because sometimes it happens. But the point of words is to acknowledge problems. Babies cry because there is a problem in their state of being that needs to be amended. Then they learn words to address those problems. And then the unoriginal sin, because everybody does it over and over again, so unoriginal, is that we end up using words to create more problems, which is why I took a vow of silence. And that's why this account is called Mind of the Mime, because it was my mime account. So that's the whole irony of all of this also. I skipped over the I'm holding you guys hostage part, where it was like, all of the followers of this account expect from me that the point of this account is that I'm trying to be silent, and then instead I like ranted to them this. Haha. But anyways, so yeah, the point of words is to acknowledge a disease. Once you have the thing in a word, the word is the disease. It's not, it's a disease that has a lot of good aspects to it. Bipolar is power. Me and Kanye West know. But it's also a disease that like needs to be cured. And I apply this to quite literally every word, including the word God. But not to people's names. I think that people's names are special, and names are not diseases. So I think that's why words are distinct from names, like actually genuinely. Proper nouns are, it's so funny because they have such an unimportant, the name proper noun is so unimportant. Like they don't have their own category. We have like adjectives, verbs, nouns. And then there's like this subcategory, this proper nouns. But that subcategory is like it's the biggest distinction. It's the only real distinction. You have words, and then you have proper nouns that like need a better, they're more than proper. They're good.
Pretend like they're not all diseases. But anyways, yeah, the Quran is musical, like in nature. That is the whole ass reason that people listen to it. It's because it was a poetic culture, and the Quran was just way better poetry than anyone had ever heard. Like just incomparably better. Like that's the reason that it was a hit. It's a banger. It was a hit because it was a banger. So,
I wish I had my synthesizer. I do need to be, because I want to, so I do need to be talking to you about how much I miss my synthesizer that is in the basement of a brownstone building across the park in Harlem, and my boyfriend moved out of that building and did not take my synthesizer out of it. But it's okay, because I'm friends with one of his roommates, and the other one hates me because we went clubbing and it was awkward. But anyways.
And then you were promised more profits.
I didn't even like make my point, which is that I would have been doing little synthesizer tones over this. But it's probably good that I'm not, because music is what makes things convincing. Music is what makes people trust in the message. The reason that you absorb Kendrick Lamar and Doechie's philosophy is because the beats are good. If it sounded bad, you wouldn't give a shit about Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Like, you'd be going through your day like, oh, I'm really excited to get my vibe killed today, except that the beat was really good. So anyway, it's probably so very good that this is not musical, and my voice is sleep deprived and not great because these thoughts are unrefined to the same degree that they are unmusical. But a lot of times, musicians have unrefined thoughts, and then they make them musical, and that is what a cult is taking an unrefined thought and making it sellable, selling it, putting some beat in it.
But then it's like, oh my gosh. Fuck the big three. Just big. Okay.
Big meat.
Now I'm gonna new critique of music.
So there's an example of an unrefined thought, because that's like the Prophet Muhammad thing, where you're not supposed to say that you are better than God. You were not supposed to say fuck the Trinity, You just didn't need to say that. You could have put something else there and had a way more impactful, powerful song. Because that's the other thing, is like, if you have more refined thoughts, you will have better music. Like, that is the case. So in a sense, it's really impressive, and it is like the power of Kendrick Lamar working really, really, really hard that his music is so good and his thoughts are unrefined.
I mean...
But, like, do better. Hold your prophets accountable.
New critique of religion is critiquing Kendrick Lamar and Doechii, because I think I have firmly established that they're the new prophets, and it's the way that it is. It's really funny to me how musical artists, Kendrick Lamar and Doechii are great examples of this, are so keen to talk about Kanye West also, like, probably the example. Keen to talk about the relationship to God in their songs, but then go back to rapping about, like, taking pride in concepts that are harming people. Like, I'm fucking bitches, and furthermore, I want you to know that I don't see them as humans, and I also probably, like, raped some of them. But, like, I love God so much. God, 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 God. God, 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 God. It's like, yo, like, you don't even have to say the word God. Just, like, produce good things. And here's the thing. In this environment, in this nation of, like, almost 50% atheists, like, essentially, like, low-key, we've got two camps. We've got the red camp, and we've got the atheist camp. And I know that there are, like, liberal Christians in theory, but it's also in theory. They exist in theory. But don't say the word God if it's going to be divisive. Isn't your, like, whole thing as a prophet to, like, convert more people to the religion? Isn't the religion just the good life? Like, eudaimonia? Isn't that what Christianity is supposed to get you? It's just, like, better connection with life and the world and the people around you. And God, sure, you could say the word if it helps. Maybe it helped in the past to say the word God. Maybe it helped in the past to make the narrative the way there was. Maybe it doesn't help anymore because people don't like the word. Maybe it's because the word, the names do not name the last two names. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be really intentional about this. And I, like, actually really hope that some of y'all watch some of this and give me thoughts, because I am, in fact, writing an album, and I am, in fact, better than Kendrick Lamar and Doechii. I don't think I'm better than Kanye West, to be honest.
So this is the example of, like, saying stupid words when you could say better words.
I get a little bit jealous when I listen to Kanye West, but I don't get jealous. I laugh at Kendrick Lamar and Doechii. I love both of them. Like, I listen to them a lot, and I do love them, but I also am like, I could tell this better.
Then prove it, bitch. Then prove it. And I can't. Like, right now I can't. I will. But there's, like, what's the point of making a promise, you know? Just why make a promise? Why not just shut up and then do it?
But that's just because me and Kanye, you're on a level, you're on a pride level. You're on a level, you're on a pride level. And also, don't expect anything of me, because I get to just say that and disqualify myself from, like, everything. Which is so fun. I love doing that. Daniel does not like when I do that, but I'm gonna, like, make the most audacious statement ever, but, like, don't have no expectations. But, like, I'm not gonna produce, like, it's gonna be simple. It's gonna be very simple production, but that's why it's gonna be good.
Hey, actually, though, if you're interested in my project, despite the unmusicality of this, if the message got to you that I'm gonna produce a good album, yeah, get hype. I've got bluegrass influences heavily, because my grandfather, who's, like, my musical origin, he was a neuroscientist, and he sang with the Yale choir for many years and had a very, like, just simple, like, that's what my Nana loves about his voice. He's been dead since I was 7, but is that it was so simple. She was like, it was so true, is what she says. Like, it's so clear. Like, there was no, and, you know, I don't know, floundering around in floral-y whatever. Like, he sang like opera stuff, I think, with the Yale choir. Yeah, actually, because I have a Russian opera 1994 t-shirt, which is fucking awesome. Yale choir, Russian opera 1994. But, like, simplicity is the key to brilliance, said a sneaker store in LA when I was 12 and I took a picture of the neon sign.
So here's the thing with, like, you're on a level, you're on a pride level. It's like, can you imagine, this is why I love Muhammad so much, genuinely from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely.
This is facts, no cap.
From the bottom of my heart, I do. Genuinely it's, like, really hard to say this right now because there's no life behind my eyes, but it's just because I haven't slept. But, like, that is, in fact, a fundamental, like, I really should sleep so I could, like, say this with actual life in me. But no, like, I have the Prophet Muhammad on my wall. Look at that. You can have a blank space, negative space. That's my favorite book right there, Series of Unfortunate Events. And there are no words on that page, almost as if there are the ways to get around things. But, by the way, the blue rose is not. That's just something I found in the trash. But, pride. It's literally just pride. Pride creates bad things. Okay, the bad thing that pride creates is that people who are prideful have to reprimand themselves for their pride. Because if you're talking about being prideful, you could be saying more interesting things. Like, other people don't care. Like, you don't care to hear that I'm better than Kendall Lamar and OT. Like, okay, fucking drop the EP. Like, I've been saying that I was going to do it since 2023 and I haven't yet. So it's
gonna be an album though. I make the wait worth it.
Just like, stop saying silly words, you know? If you have the ability to say good words, which I think I do, I think every single person in the world is a prophet in their own way.
Wait, this is the important part. I don't want to replay it because then you'll have to re-listen to the pride part, but like, please take it seriously that your words matter.
Maybe. Like, we all have the ability to say good words because we like actually could be intentional about our tone of voice if we want to be, perhaps. But like, so you have people who are self-reproaching because they're not totally over the guilt, and then other people read it who have way less pride and still feel like they should feel bad about their pride. But like, no, should you feel bad that like you are taking joy in your accomplishment? Like, no. Just don't be redundant. Like, that's really the only thing. Alexander the Great, also great guy. I love Alexander the Great. He's in one of my songs. He had rosacea.
Okay, I think I got distracted talking about myself and didn't make the point. Alexander the Great, according to Plutarch, who you will later hear me praise, had a lot of pride. He would sit down for feasts, and I'm pretty sure with his like king emperor schedule, it was probably like 2-hour dinner with a bunch of people every night. And he would just take up all of the dinner time. He would disturb everybody's eating by just being like, I'm so great. I'm so amazing. Like, I am the awesomest person who lives on this earth. I'm so cool. And then the thing is, like, he kind of was justified in saying that if you, like, according to Plutarch's history. Is Plutarch's history the only history? No. But according to Plutarch's history, if you read it, you're like, okay, facts, fair, whatever, fair enough. Like, he did really incredible things. For example, when he went to war with Persia, he had the Persian emperor's wife and daughter held captive because that was just like the convention of war. Like, war actually used to be a lot more humane in the past than it is now. There used to be rules. People would follow the rules. Anyways, he had them in like luxury suite, like staying in a nicer room than Alexander the Great. Like, and he was like, let me know, like, I am at your beck and call. I will give you anything. And just like bestowed upon them like a whole bunch of gold and like the best food, and like they probably got to eat alone so they didn't have to hear Alexander the Great talking about himself. And like was just genuinely, it was like a vacation experience. And so the king of Persia was like, I think according to Plutarch, maybe I'm making this up, like almost in tears, like, thank you so much for treating my wife and my daughter so well. And like Alexander the Great's like, yeah. And then the other awesome thing that he did is he started dressing in Persian style. So like he totally changed the fashion trends by incorporating, like, you know, the land of the people that they're conquering. And in these days, that was like, it is kind of impossible to let you know how revolutionary that was. In the days when people fundamentally saw like people who are in a different state as barbarians, like, these are inhuman, they're savages, they, you know, don't know God, they know nothing, to like start wearing the clothes of the people who presumably know nothing as the emperor, and to be like, no, these are in fact more trendy and fashionable than our clothes, so y'all should get on the trend because like we've been missing out. That's huge. So he was a great person, and at the same time he did not need to bore so many people at dinner by saying he was great.
By the way, so Greek beauty standard was like olive skin, glowing, bright. He had ruddy ass, pinky cutesy cheeks, and I bet he had like plump rosy cheeks.
And that's the other cool thing about Alexander the Great, is his backstory is so, because a lot of the times kings have very boring backstories because it's like, okay, they never faced any challenges, but like he really did face doubt. Like, his dad was concerned for him because he had this like warrior instinct. Pete Hegseth would have loved him. Warrior ethos all the way. But like, yeah, as a young lad, he was trying to prove that he was like better at riding horses than everyone and better at fighting than everyone. And he actually was, which in a sense, I don't know, some people kind of are Jesus-like throughout time. Like they just like have all of the skills somehow. Me personally, my thing was run away from the ball in elementary school because I had a friend who said that and I just like absorbed it. I'm like, okay, run away from the ball. So I never became athletic. I'm also just not athletic. My back does not bend. I did gymnastics and my back does not bend. But like, basically, he faced hardship and he overcame it and he did great things and he was too prideful.
So I have a lyric about that, of his rosacea, and comparing it to like illness.
But it's like, how do we take that pride? Does that mean that he is a bad person? No, it just means he wasted some time. But also, going to war with Persia, it's like when you look at it from a like not having read anything, it's like, oh, war bad. And true, war bad. Like, facts, always actually true. However, it gets complicated with context. It gets complicated.
It's killing trees. But like, in a cutesy way. Because I do, like, maybe it's just because Plutarch, it's literally just how you tell the story. Plutarch's history
I think I'm
Alexander
like,
the Great was like,
okay, if prophets are the voice of God, I'm the voice of Pete Hegseth. I have the Miseducation of America on my desk. This is also just like receptibility and stuff, like things that are written well, things that are said well, sell. Like if you listen to them and you have an open heart and an open mind, then you will be swayed. So I say this as a queer, grew up in California, liberal, like I stand by warrior ethos. I do. And I like Pete Hegseth's book, and it makes perfect sense why the Republicans are in power and why Trump is putting Fox News people in power, because when people know how to speak, doesn't matter how refined their thoughts are, if they know how to speak, you're swayed. I was like almost in tears at the beginning of his Senate, like, what is it, the hearing, because of how powerful his words were. But then in the portion where they were questioning him, I was horrified because I was like, he cannot respond to questions. Like, this man is actually probably unfit to rule, you know? He's like, this is bad. Like, you need to be able to respond, but words sway when they are well edited.
oh my god, I fucking love it. Like,
I tell you this as a journalist, so I have authority here.
over heel for this man. Give me Alexander the Great. But anyways, that's the power of narrative. Like, you probably are you turned off by Adam? Or do you think it's hot that he tried to suck his own dick?
If you want to know my opinion, comment down below.
I make myself laugh. I really do. Because I'm laughing throughout all of this because I've been thinking this whole time, you dumbass, either go to sleep or write your essay that's late.
Fact. Confession moment. Even though it's probably like also a waste of time. No, it is a waste of time yet.
And so that's the constant laugh at the back of it all, you know? And how wonderful, because none of this would be...
No, I want to get it off my chest. I failed my classes last semester. Like, I should have failed all of my classes. I had some kind professors who gave me passing grades. Like, I didn't do my finals, and they passed me anyway. Which is also, I don't know, the state of education in America. I'm like, is it a joke? People try so damn hard at Columbia. They try so hard. Like, people don't... Like, this is blasphemy. Everything I'm saying here obviously is blasphemy for obvious reasons, but it's also blasphemy to my intellectual culture of, like, you're not, like, what the fuck do you mean you're spending hours just thinking, just, like, sitting alone and thinking and not doing your work? Like, you don't have time to do that. And that is a problem, because what are we gonna learn? How are we gonna use our brains and our educations if we don't have, literally, like, people do not allow themselves the time to think. And I do allow myself the time to think. Hence, I failed all of my classes. If the system was not rigged. But it is, so I failed 3 classes.
These thoughts are sustained by me laughing at myself for not going to sleep or writing my essay. And that's what happens when you mobilize your guilt. But then also, I'm probably doing it wrong, because I'm good at writing and not editing. So I think probably, like,
Okay, also just to answer questions, Q&A. Q in your head, A. Yeah, bipolar disorder, whatever. I slept through one of my finals because I just, like, my sleep habits got really, really out of whack. That was, like, the worst period of it. Like, I feel like I'm getting better at managing it now. I also should say I have cyclothymia, not bipolar disorder, is the official diagnosis. But cyclothymia is defined as a mild form of bipolar disorder. And I feel like at some point they're just going to like do what they did to the autism spectrum and just be like, we don't need to call something Asperger's and then call the rest of it autism. It's all autism. And like it is bipolar. So anyway, but like, yeah, but also it was because I was like, I like went to Union Square and bought Christmas presents for my friends, and like I hung out with my boyfriend and I dilly-dallied and I had thoughts, and I walked around and I wrote poetry and I worked on my songs and I did some work on my essays, but then I didn't get them finished.
Very origins of this argument are...
But I thought that I could get them finished, but then the sleep stuff and the depression stuff.
Probably fundamentally wrong, because that tends to happen with me. Where it's like, I probably should be actually like using my guilt, like implementing it so as to like not do any of this and just like do what I need to do. Because this is why I don't like Kendrick Lamar and Doechii. Like, I actually am going to make a statement now instead of just being, but they, bitch, kill my vibe. You need to have your vibe killed. Okay, this is the final part, legit for real. I'm killing my vibe. This is why I'm better. I am putting it in practice. This is... Please appreciate the humor of the statement. Like, please read the Quran. And every time it says the end is near, it's just like, it's actually just about they're killing their own vibe because they're realizing that like their vibe needs to be killed to build a new vibe. It's in this exact same way. A video that will kill my vibe. Yeah. What I think is that we need to listen to each other. Okay. Because I claimed in the past future where I titled this video, Everything I Learned as a Religion and Philosophy Student at Columbia. I need to throw in the Lotus Sutra right now, and just because it's such a good metaphor. The Lotus Sutra, which is, I thought, the principal text of Mahayana Buddhism, and what all Buddhists look to is like the final, last edition amendment to their religion, which I recently discovered in my technology religion future class with a professor who has really, really studied Buddhism, like went to a monastery in Tibet when he was 17 because he was so driven to, and then lived his life around what the monks told him, kind of like Avatar. Like, he literally is Avatar. My professor, David Kate, is the last airbender, and I stand by that. But anyways, so apparently the Lotus Sutra is not accepted by all Buddhists, which makes sense because it's a weird-ass text, and I love it. The Lotus Sutra has the parable of the burning house and basically says we are all in this world that is like burning down, and the point is to escape the burning house. So God is compassionate really just means that God is going to tell you whatever it takes to get you out of the burning house. So the parable is like, there's this rich father, he has 3 children. The children are very, like, we don't need to call them spoiled because people can be privileged without being spoiled, but like maybe I'm spoiled, but some people can. But so the 3 kids are playing with a bunch of toys in this big ass playroom in this big ass mansion, but it's burning down and the fire hasn't reached them yet. And so the dad is like, hey, I have special carriages for you outside, and they're jewel encrusted. And he describes 3 different carriages to just appeal to the 3 children individually. Like, the point of describing, there's one that's drawn by an ox, one that's drawn by a mule, is to, like, kind of spice it up, introduce some competition maybe, like the kids are going to race each other out because they both want the ox one, or maybe it's because he knows that one of the ones wants the mule. And in any case, he describes distinctly different carriages, and in fact, none of the carriages exist. But it's compassionate because he's trying to get his kids out of the burning house. And then when the kids are outside of the burning house, it's like cut scene, and it feels like a chunk was like edited out of the original, and like the carriages are actually there. So it's like they didn't exist at the time that the dad promised them, but like in fact when the kids escaped the burning house, they got the carriages anyway. And that is kind of I love that as a metaphor for religion, and I feel like you can apply it to the Abrahamic religions really, really well. Really, really, really well. How do you read the Quran as a Christian? How do you deal with Christianity as a Jew? Well, if you look at it as the 3 carriages, and I guess we're done. All right, cool.
Bye.